Hi everybody, hi girls and boys, this is the MIKI in a Vest channel. Today I'm wearing a Union Jack vest because I'm going to tell you about my love in London. I was 16 years old and I'll show you how I looked like when I was 16. This is how I looked like. I think I was a handsome boy and long hair, as you can see. MIKI, 16. So, I lived at my aunt's place, my aunt and my cousin. My aunt defected to England in 1956, you know, there was a revolution. So she lived there, and on the day I arrived, I was going to stay there for a month. And I said to my aunt, Annie, her name was Anna, but her nickname was Annie, Anna. If I pick up a girl tomorrow, which I will, can I bring her home and can she spend the night with me in the spare room? She said, yes, of course. The spare room and the laundry were on the ground floor. On the first floor there was the living room and the kitchen, and on the second floor there was the bedroom of my aunt and my cousin. Two different separate bedrooms. My cousin was 15 years old. And so I went to downtown London, and I was at, the next day, I was at 363 Oxford Street, HMV record shop, record store, on the first floor, and I was looking for records. I was browsing, and looking at me at some distance was a beautiful girl, and I was shirtless, and she was smiling. And because she was smiling, that gave me self-confidence. So I walked up to her and I spoke. I looked in the dictionary and it says accosted. I didn't know this word, so I accosted her. I spoke to her. I said, what are you looking for? And she said, Supertramp. And I said, wow, Supertramp, I love Supertramp. We already have something in common. Would you like to come and walk with me on Oxford Street? She said, yes. And we walked and we held hands. Can you imagine? We already held hands. She liked me and I liked her. And sometimes holding hands, especially for the very first time, can be more exciting than the wildest sex. Sometimes. In this case it was. We held hands and we knew then that we were going to be girlfriend and boyfriend. And we walked and we arrived at Tottenham Court Road tube station. And I took a deep breath and I said, do you want to come home with me? And she said yes. And I knew then, she was beautiful. Thin, slim, long hair, long brown hair. And not only was she beautiful, but she had desire in her eyes. And she said yes. And she said, do you live in a hotel? I said, no, I live at my aunt's place. I live in the spare room. So we got on the tube, and it's a long ride from Tottenham Court Road Station to Hammersmith. Long ride. Thank God it's a long ride, because we kissed. We kissed passionately. We were boy and girl. And sometimes we took a pause in kissing, and I said, I love you, and she said, I love you too. And then we kissed again. I didn't mind kissing in front of people. On the contrary, I enjoyed it. So we arrived at my aunt's place, and I said to my aunt and my cousin, allow me to introduce to you my girlfriend. And my cousin said, Mickey, that was quick. I told you. I knew I was going to pick up a girl because in Hungary I did easily and quickly pick up girls. And here only the language was different, which I spoke, so what could go wrong? And nothing did. And we had dinner, and then during dinner we talked about Hungary. Vicki was her name. Vicki talked about England. And interestingly, she was a fashion designer. And also, my aunt also was a fashion designer. So they had something to talk about. And during the conversation, Vicki said, by the way, Mickey, how old are you? And I said, make a guess. I'll tell you, but before that, make a guess, and then I'll tell you. And she said 17, 18, and my aunt, my cousin, and myself laughed. We laughed. And I said, Vicki, I'm only 16. And she said, wow, she was thinking that she has been kissing with a 16-year-old boy. And we kissed in front of my aunt and my cousin. And then we went down to the spare room. We stripped down to our underwear. I was wearing underpants like this. Lotzi, show my underpants. Show my underpants. I was wearing underpants very similar to this. And I said to her, Vicki, let's wait. And she said, why? I said, Vicki, we both know what's going to happen. Let's wait. It's exciting to wait, to not do it for a while. So we fondled each other and kissed. And then we made love. And we were together for a month. We were at Vicki's place. Vicki's room was much bigger than my spare room. And I said to her, Vicki, The plan was that I would pick up a girl every other day and bring her home to the spare room. But it's not going to happen, Vicki. I love you. I'm going to stay with you. If you stay with me, I'll stay with you. And she said, I'll stay with you. And we did. And the love was so exciting because we knew when it's going to end and why it's going to end, because my passport was valid only for 30 days. I had to return to Hungary and I had my train ticket. So we knew when it's going to be over, and somehow that made it very, very exciting. So for a month or 28 days, we were at either Vicki's place or our place. And it was beautiful love. We went to the movies, we went to art galleries, we went back to HMV record shop to kiss at the place where we met. We revisited the place. And then I had to leave London by train. Vicki was smart enough, she was 23 years old. She was smart enough not to make a scene in the car. And she did. She cried a bit, but that was okay. I cried a bit, but most of the time we kissed because we knew we had to use the time that we're together for love. I'm going to show you a painting of mine. It's called You Can Look into the Circles. As you can see, it features lots of circles. And exceptionally, this was painted on wood. This is a wood painting. I used acrylic paint, but the material that I painted on was wood. Here it is. Next time I'm going to tell you miscellaneous, short, very short stories. Bye.